Hello friends, this is the continuation of our yesterday's discussion, poetry. Poets we saw yesterday, and today is poetry. Poetry in general sense and poetry in a special or restricted sense. In a general sense, poetry is, language is poetry. Sculpture is poetry. Music is poetry. Painting is poetry. Dancing is poetry. So history is poetry. Prose is poetry. Prose writing is, for example, poetry. In a general sense. But in the materials also we have seen, can be anything under the sun can be used for writing a poem. We have seen that already. In a restricted sense, it means metrical language. General sense, all these things. We say metrical language. That is restricted sense. Metrical language. Understand? That means that is words are arranged. An arrangement of language by a faculty or a gift of man. An arrangement of language. So you can say like this, a faculty or a gift by which you arrangement of language. Metrical language, that is arrangement of language. A very interesting thing about this, also I told you about music, painting, sculpture, then what do you have, dancing, architecture, architects. This all can be color, and then religion, religious habits, civil habits, culture. Anything can be language, anything can be a subject matter material for poetry. And all those people who work with these materials can be called poets, but still there is something special about language. What is the special thing about language? Something special about language. The other things also we can use, but what is so special about language? That we have to see. Special about language. What is that special about language? First point is to know that directly language represents and expresses human actions and passions. Human actions and passions are directly expressed. The other is indirectly, isn't it? You can see that. For example, you think about a statue. It expresses emotions, but it's indirect. But language is not like that, direct. So that's one thing that you can see. Directly represents language. Directly represents human emotions and passions. So this is the first thing that you can see special about language. So you can use marble, you can use granite, you can use color, you can use musical notations, you can use building materials, architecture, for poems. But language is a direct expression. Secondly, language has a capacity to enter in more varied and delicate combinations. It is more plastic and obedient to the control of the faculty of creation. That is true. Because you take a piece of marble, then make a statue, try to make a statue. You cannot get in many combinations. One marble from here, another marble from now. But words are not like that. So language, the capacity to enter more varied and delicate combinations. That's the thing. The capacity to enter, language has the capacity to enter into more varied, that's important now, different ways and delicate combinations. and delicate combinations. It is plastic in this sense, plastic, like wax, no? Yes, and plus the plastic and obedient to the faculty of creation, more obedient or amenable, you can say, more obedient to the faculty of creation. That without much explanation you can understand it. Because language is such a thing that you can move anywhere. See that you can say like this. Say April is the cruelest month. You can say the month of April is cruelest, or you can say the season of April is cruelest. Like that, you can move to different change also. I hope you understand that without much explanation. And it is obedient to the faculty of creation. Means you can move it this way, that way. That is the meaning of obedient. Not that the words will obey you, not that, but you can move it easily. That's the thing. Then again, you have got third point is language is arbitrarily produced. Something, an idea that came up in the 20th century through Ferdinand de Saussure was hinted at by Shelley so earlier days. Language is arbitrarily produced. See that Saussure has said that by the imagination and has a relation to thoughts alone. That's the thing. So third point is that language is arbitrarily produced and it has relation only to thoughts. The other materials are not like that. Marble, granite, color, paint, brush, musical notations and so on. So it's not arbitrarily produced. For example, you cannot arbitrarily means what? That means without any logic. Without any logic. Something. As we are, as the famous saying we know, what is that famous saying, you know? That there is nothing in language. There is nothing in language except differences. When you see cat and dog, you don't see cat in CAT. You don't see dog in DOG. But cat is cat because it is not, it has got another set of, dog is dog because they have got a separate sets of phonemes. That's all. If we change cat, K in M, substitute K by M, it becomes another word, mat. That's all. Isn't it? Or you substitute T by S, then it is mass. Double mass. That's all. So in language there is nothing. There is the cry of Nietzsche. There is nothing positive in language. Only differences. And from there comes this idea of deconstruction and modern criticism and so on. Language is slippery. Language is nothing but metaphor. These are all statements that we are now very familiar with. But the point that I am trying to bring to your mind is that this was hinted at by Shelley years ago. That is the point. So language is arbitrarily produced and just direct connection with the thoughts. So you can move your thoughts like this. You see, it is more plastic, as you can say, or wax-like. Language is a mirror that reflects human actions and passions. That is the fourth point. Language is a mirror that reflects human actions. Here directly represents human emotions and passion. Reflects human actions. Almost the same thing. And passions. Almost, you can say, the same thing, but a slight differences. Actions and passions. So this is language. The difference between language and other materials used for poetry is this. Other materials, when you say, they don't directly represent, they don't have the capacity to enter into various combinations, they are not arbitrarily produced, there is some logic in this, and they are mirror, they are not mirror, but they, language represents it. I think it's clear to you. So special about language. So, although in a general sense, every history, architecture, music, then what else? You can use it as materials of poetry, and they themselves are, you can say, poems. In other words, the cause and effect both are poems. Understand? Language is the cause, language is the effect. That's it. What do you find in a poem? Language. How does the poet make it? Using language. So, in cause and effect, both are same. That is the point. Understand? But, as we have seen, language and other materials used. Shelley gives an example. He says, two performers who have got the same skill, they produce unequal effects in a lyre and in a harp. So suppose you have got poets, all are poets. They have all are skilled. But what happens is, the performance will be unequal. The one who uses language, his performance will be different from the performance of one who uses marble or granite. That's the thing. In fact, says this very famous quotation, poetry is the poetic faculty itself. Poetry is the poetic faculty itself. So in that case, again, you come with the sculpture, musician, and all those things. Poetry itself. Now, what is so peculiar about language of poetry? How is language of poetry different from other uses of language? Say, for example, when you are writing your notes, you are using language. Language notes, language is cause and effect. What is it? First thing that you have to see is, there is certain uniformity. Language has some uniformity. Uniformity you will find in the language of poetry. What is the second one? Uniformity. There is harmony. It's harmonious. Harmonious, you can say. There is some harmony in it. And then you have got a recurrence of sound in it. Recurrence of sound. Recurrence. So, sound. Recurrence of sound in it. A simple example is, you can remember is, was this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burned the topless towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. Now that piece, if you take, you have all this. There is some uniformity you will find. There is monosyllables, jumping. Monosyllables. Or monosyllabic you can say. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships? Monosyllable. And you can also see, so there is a harmony. What is harmony? Smoothness and order you will find. Suppose you translate that into prose, then it will be, oh, this is a face which is very beautiful, like that is. See the difference between the two. If you want to see the difference between poetic language and that is the harmonious language of poetry and difference between other forms, just try to translate that, then you will see. To be or not to be, there is harmony. There is uniformity. But suppose you render it into prose, it will be Hamlet was thinking whether he should do this or whether he should refrain from this. See the difference. Poetic language and this. In certain cases, you may think that poetry and prose same. For example, Charles Lamb's essays are very poetic. Lord Bacon's essays are poetic. Hardy's descriptions of Hagden Heath, poetic language. Because this language has got these three qualities. That is, there's uniformity, there's harmony, recurrence of sound. Understand? So that is poetic language. Therefore, recurrence of sound. Therefore, what happens is, Shelley says you cannot translate. If you try to translate a poem, it will be like, so this is the analogy given by Shelley himself, like putting a violet into a crucible. A crucible means a vessel made of metal or some strong material, because that will be heated. Put a violet, means a flower, in the crucible and heat it to find out its chemical components. Then what will happen? There is no flower. If you want to get the flower once again, you have to have, there should be seed, then the plant should spring from the seed and flower. You cannot reverse it. That's what he says. Trying to translate a great piece of poetry just like, or any, need not be poetry, any poem. It will be like putting a violet in a crucible to find out its color and study its color and odor. Odor means smell. So he says it's called vanity of translation. The act of translation he calls a vanity, means useless. Translation, see, paraphrasing, etc. is useless. You got the point? Yes. So, then he speaks about, he continues, he speaks about metrical language. Should the poet use metrical language? Should he be restricted by this? Should he be restricted by this? Then what does he say? What is his opinion? Not essential. Metrical language, now it's about metrical language. Measure, metrical means measure, that's all. Meter is measure. Iambic pentameter. It's 5 feet, 5 feet lines where you have got a unstressed, stressed. That pattern. Ta-ta, like this. Ta-ta, 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 ta-ta. Example, see, you remember when I took Pope means Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope's essay on criticism. You must have, I began the class like this, showing you the metrical or the measure of those lines. Understand? That is. So here you have, it's not, if I get into that, sometimes the focus, we will be missing the focus. So meter, I'll take a class, I definitely, a series of lectures you can expect from me on meter, English meters. Croaky, Anapest, I am, and so on. But before that, I tell you, somebody asked me to do it, but then I wrote back saying that you must have some idea about the stress pattern of English words, syllables. Because the entire thing is built on stress rhythm. So I hope that you will also be doing that before I start this. Okay? Okay, metrical. So metrical language is not necessary, he says, not essential. not essential for poetry. This is what essential. This is what Wordsworth says in his Preface to Lyrical Ballads. Not necessary, but it gives pleasure. It adds to the pleasure of the poem. It is convenient and popular, so it is preferred, that's all. Not essential, but it is convenient and popular, and therefore it is preferred. See, when you are about the metrical language, rhythm and so on, it's easy to remember. See, like for example, when you say, and alliteration and so on. Peter Piper picked a peck of pepper. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pepper, where is the peck of pepper did Peter Piper pick? See, this is something that I studied when I was in school. 7th standard, even now I am remembering. It's because of that rhythm, that order, that harmony, repeated sounds are repeated and so on. It becomes easy for us. Understand? So it's not necessarily, that's what I said. Lord Bacon, it's not he's a prose writer, but he Plato. Yesterday I told you all these things. Plato, Chaslem, Hardy, historians. And then he makes a distinction between a story and a poet. Story and poet. Story, according to Shelley, you need not agree or you can agree or disagree. He says it is a catalogue of detached facts. He says. Story, according to him, is a catalogue of detached facts. I don't know why does he say like this. It's not detached, there is unity, organic unity. But the difference between this and the poem and poetry is, poetry now comes again some very, very profound, we can say, observations. Poetry is an unchangeable form of human nature. That is poetry. Poetry is unchangeable form of human nature. That means, what does that mean? That is, the character of is eternal, unchangeable form. Othello, Hamlet, King Lear, Othello, Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, they will do the same thing wherever they are. Job will react in that same way wherever he is. Isn't it? That's what it's meant by unchanging form of human nature. So it's a saying. And then you have again you can see a list gatherer, a character like List will do the same thing. His belief in God, trust in God, he's doing this small thing for a living, but he says that providence will help me. So, how many list gatherers are there in this world? That's the thing. And then he says it is the image of all other minds. That is, contains eternal truth. Same point. Image of all other minds. Other minds. Contains eternal truth. So that means what is? Universal. Image of all other minds means is universal. Universal truth. Or what Mathew says now, higher truth. This is the phrase that he says. Poetry tells us Mathew Arnold says it is higher truth. Higher truth. This is the phrase used by Mathew Arnold. It has higher truth. And he says again, poetry makes beautiful that which is distorted. Harmony. Poetry makes beautiful what is distorted. Understand? So, almost the same thing but put in an unchangeable form of human nature means universal, eternal. Image of all other minds contains eternal truth, same, universal. Poetry makes beautiful, that is about the aesthetic side of it. Listen. Or Mathew speaks about higher truth. Higher truth and post-truth. You have got truth many things. So poetry, of course, presents before you higher truth. That means eternal. The other is local truth. It rains in July. It's a local truth. But when the behavior of Job or Othello, in that situation, everybody will behave in that way. That is the inimitable quality of Shakespeare. So, Dr. Johnson praises Shakespeare for this. So, presenting human nature in its universal form. And then poetry need not be, he says, a poem need not be a big composition. Part of a composition can be great poem. Mathew notes, Dover Bridge concludes 35, 36, 37 lines, you remember? And we are here as on a darkling plain. And we are here as on a darkling plain, swept with the confused alarms of struggle and fight, where ignorant armies clash by night. That itself is great poetry. The last part of the last 3 lines of Dover Bridge, you can see. And we are here as in a darkling plain, where ignorant armies clash by night. That is the situation in England those days. Industrial Revolution, loss of faith in religion, and so on. So that's it. Even a single line is a great poem. Fair is foul and foul is fair. That's a great poem. Even a single word is a great poem. Et tu brute. See that? How does it? It brings forth suggestions and it creates ripples of emotions and feelings and passions. Et tu brute. That situation. Or a portion like, and when we were children staying at the Archduke's, my cousins, he took me out on his sled. And I was frightened. He said, Mary, Mary, hold on tight. And down we went in the mountains. There we feel free. I read much of the night and go south in winter. See the transition? Or just summer surprises coming over the standards. If you know the before and after of that line, then you see that itself is a great composition. So, a great poetry need not be a big piece or a epic poem. No. Within the epic poem, you have got many poems. So, great poetry is, now this class is especially devoted to what poetry is. In a general sense, anything is poetry. Any materials can be used for poetry. But language is important because language is directly represents expressions of human actions and passions, capacity to enter into combinations. It is plastic, it is obedient to the faculty of creation, it is arbitrarily produced, and it is directly connected with your thoughts only. So language is a mirror, so it's easy. And then he says, persons having, say, performers having same skill, but they produce different effects or unequal effects when they deal with different materials. Poetry, then he says, is poetic faculties. And then he says about the poetic language has got certain harmony, uniformity, and recurring sound vision. Therefore, he says that poetry cannot be translated. If you think that poetry can be translated, it is your vanity. It is like putting a violet, a flower, a crucible to study, scientific study, but there will be no flower. That is a very good example, isn't it? Yes. Then he speaks about metric language, not essential, but it is good, it is preferred. It gives pleasure, lyrical balance. Professed lyrical balance, it gives pleasure, added pleasure. Speaks about story is only a catalogue of detached events. And speaks about poetry again, superiority of poetry, universal thoughts, eternal thoughts. It is you are participating in the universal minds. That's what it says. Image of all the other minds. Poetry makes beautiful what is distorted. You may look at something very, you say, oh, it is like a broken glass. Then you will see that, then you study. That's why one of the criticisms that is hurled against T.S. Eliot's poem is that it is multiplicity and it is like it's a broken glass and all those. But when you go deep into it, that you will find that the whole thing is revolving around three words, which are one is memory, desire, and fear. Memory, desire, and fear. I shall show you fear in a handful of dust, and then all the other remaining frames that come parade before you. That is from that moment onwards, burial of the dead, game of chess, fire sermon, death by water, what the thunder said, you will find one after another the frames dancing before you, bringing fear. And finally there is a resolution. So that is the unity. If you consider this is not a class on that, so we will see that later. So then what he says, and then he says, what is poetry? Poetry is not volumes, single word. It's poetry. Listen. Nature is a libertine. If you say like that, it's poetry. So, charming words, metrical language is not required. These things we have already seen, so I don't want to. So you say the great historians, Herodotus, Plutarch, and Livy, they are historians, they are poets. You call them historians, but they are great poets. Because what is the unchangeable forms of human nature? Then you have an image of all the other minds and higher truth, Mathew. And poetry makes beautiful what is distorted. I hope today, yesterday we had who is a poet. Today we have what is poet according to Shelley. Understand? Very beautiful concepts explained in this way. Think about that translation, he says. It is like comparing translation to putting a violet in a crucible for chemical analysis. That is translation. Then he says, Don't make a difference between prose and poetry. There is a very stupid difference, he says, because there are great prose writers. Prose writers are poets also. I hope you are following me, you are enjoying my classes. As I always say, if you really are benefited from these lectures of mine, then you must immediately subscribe. It's good, subscribe now. You know why? Because you should not, the effort that I am making now, it's my great desire that my effort should reach all those who are in need of this kind of help for your UGC NET or your postgraduate studies. I tell you really frankly I am saying. So if I say I make some effort and if it remains useless in the air, so you should tell your friends also, absolutely free of cost, if it is useful to you. Otherwise, don't do anything. Yes. Okay? See you again with another dose of Shelley. Shelley's defense of poetry. Without much delay, sooner or later we can. Okay? Bye. Have a nice day. Enjoy yourself.